Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, last week I got mixed up on my days. It is Friday today, right?
No,
it's Thursday. It is not. It's Thursday again. That's the same thing I did last week on Thursday.
You have an extra day of the week.
I just rolled into town, literally, from Newtown. It's going to be our next hometown.
Nice.
And so, honestly, I've been in the building for about an hour. I stayed up there for 3 days, and we're going to have a phenomenal show.
I bet.
And Patty, weren't you?
I just rolled in from Steele. My hair isn't even dry all the way because it was raining there and I was leaping over puddles, and I'm so excited. What I love about my hometown is we are discovering these gems throughout the state, reasons to get in your car and get out to these hometowns.
Yeah.
Between the fine dining and events and places to go. It is amazing.
It seems like they all have a nice little steakhouse now, too. All these little communities are like really getting into bringing people in, like a nice hamburger joint, or maybe it might be a bar, kind of pub type place that has a great burger, or they're famous for a steak, but it's phenomenal.
Yep.
Absolutely.
What I love about your hometown segments is that just the community pride that gets to come through, and it's just an attraction to just be in that environment, you know, whereas small town, you know, some people complain about small towns because everybody knows everybody's business, but you know what, if something happens, it's family, everybody's together helping each other, and it's just such a piece of America that I love, you know.
In a big way. And what I'm finding, and I'm sure you are too, is that there are people from out of state, from bigger areas, they moved to these hometowns, and some of them aren't even from there to begin with.
Right.
Yep.
Yesterday I stopped at this pizza place up in Newtown, and the guy was talking really soft. I can't even, he sounded like Elvis, but a lot softer. I honestly could barely hear him. I said, "Are you from Louisiana?" He goes, "Why, yes, I am, ma'am." And it's like, it was amazing. It is a melting pot, it really is. Then I ran into another lady, and she said, "Oh, that's a great idea. Did you know North Dakota has a waterfall?" And it's like, well, describe waterfall, you know what I'm saying? But she said someplace south of Jamestown or Valley City, is it Fort Randall? There's some type of a ransom, maybe Fort Ransom, is that it?
I don't know.
I don't know, but we need to do some research, but they have a waterfall. North Dakota has a waterfall, and I'm supposed to go check it out, or we're supposed to go check it out.
And you heard it here first.
Yeah, there you go.
If you didn't know about it.
But another thing, it rained all the way. There were thunderstorms up in Newtown today, and I drove pretty much all the way back in rain, but my husband is out chopping corn, so I called him. I said, "Kenny," I said, "is it raining at home?" And he said, "No." He said, "We had a light sprinkle earlier," but then Carmen, you said there was some flash flooding in Mandan.
Yeah, I heard this morning that just south of the railroad tracks, where it kind of goes down the hill there, that it came down so fast. And I was maybe 3 blocks from there, not a drop where I was, but it had flash flooded down there. They got a whole downpour in just a little bit. So
It was pouring from Steele to Bismarck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is, for those of you that aren't watching from the state here, we haven't had rain all summer. And now we have like Lake Beck right out front here. You can't even get in the parking lot without knee-high waders on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a godsend because not only, I mean, yes, it won't help this year's crops, but it helps the pastures and the cropland, and it gets sub-moisture for next year. So this is all a godsend. We really need it.
Yep.
We really do.
I had a gentleman on the phone saying, "Oh, so is it soaking into the ground if it's been so wet there?" Because he's from some other state. I said, "Looks like to me it's having trouble soaking in. It's coming so fast, but I'm sure it's trying." You know.
Well, and the weird thing, out on the pastures, there are cracks all over.
Yeah.
Like even that last rainstorm we had a week ago, I asked Kenny. I said, "Well, are the stock ponds, are they full?" He said, "No." It all ran into the cracks that are across the entire prairie, and so. Now maybe with this rain, it'll fill up some of those stock dams.
Starting to fill it in and greening
whatnot.
everything up.
Right.
That'd be awesome.
But anyway, we're going to have a great show today. It's all about conspiracy. We have all kinds of topics that we're going to cover, and we have Dr. Ted Fogerty coming on as well. He is going to talk a little bit about some of the medical conspiracies that are going on right now, and you're not going to want to miss it. But there's all kinds of good information that we're going to share today. But that's coming up next, right after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are joined by Dr. Ted Fogerty. And so today we are Ladies of Another View and a dude.
Yeah. I love it.
A doctor dude, right?
Yeah.
Is that what Trent Luce calls you?
No, he calls me What the Fogerty.
Oh, What the Fogerty, yes.
Even better.
Even better.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, and we just love having you. This is like the third, fourth, fifth time you've been here. But whenever we have you, I always have people come up and say, my gosh, he has so much information, so we love having you on. The information that you have is just, it's life-saving, it's life-changing. So tell me what's going on now.
Well, thank you for the compliments, Mary. It's what isn't going on right now is really the question, right? I just going back into my background, but I'm a local radiologist, but I'm a statewide medical educator and international research fellow of sorts of Dr. Paul Harch down at LSU on this whole hyperbaric platform that is the most amazing physics and medicine that I've ever seen, and it's very simple. And of course, as a radiologist and my colleagues here in town that I work with and during the day, we're reading for small towns in the Beck family of counties of sorts, and St. Alexius has always done a great job in helping through its radiology department all of these small town hospitals survive what is really medicine is a cutthroat business, and we're seeing you know, a lot of small town rural hospital closures across the country. And so,
Why is that? Is that just lack of personnel, lack of equipment, or what is it?
yeah, it's a big economic crisis. I mean, which all of our rural counties, of course, have the brain drain. You know, I'm on the board of the North Dakota Medical Imaging board for radiotherapy and our radiology techs. And our small town hospitals have a terrible time recruiting anyone unless you home grow them and get them back from, you know, the Twin Cities or Omaha or Denver. You're not going to get them back. And so it's just, it's what rural America has always faced. And now we have a situation where we really, you know, you were going to have this conspiracy theory book author on today, who unfortunately couldn't make it, but it's not really a conspiracy theory. There is a racketeering system of big business against the little guy. We see it in agriculture all the time. It's happening in medicine and healthcare. And when I came up to North Dakota in 2003, out of Omaha, I was fleeing that kind of stuff going on in Omaha, where big conglomerates were taking over Omaha Medicine, Tenet Healthcare, having taken over Creighton University Medical Center, and not telling anyone in the community that that's actually a Tenet hospital. So you have these outfits, these enterprises that are consolidating, and in a political sense, in our state, you know, we have Denny Sanford's enterprise and racket has come into North Dakota and been illegally billing our citizens for years. And when I was the secretary of the board at Sanford, I put my foot down, and we had the attorneys who were in charge of the billing department down there at Sanford come up, and all of us local doctors, we kind of put them through a grind of questions, and they couldn't really respond to my concerns and charges that our citizens were, number one, getting illegally billed under the the ACA, the Affordable Health Care Act at the time.
So explain that. How are they being illegally billed?
So there's in our state, actually, from the Depression era and the starting of the state bank, our grandparents, you know, I'm an adopted son, but my uncle Jack Munson from Rugby, his parents and grandparents and that whole cohort of great North Dakotans, in 1919, we started a state bank because of usury practices of big businesses, mainly based out of the Twin Cities. The banks, the rail lines, all kind of colluding together to get our North Dakota farmers into debt so that they could take their land. And you know, if you think about it, in 1917, when there was a pandemic, and the Minneapolis bankers are holding all these loans for these farmers, and the rail lines are like, well, sorry, it's a pandemic, we can't go get your grain and sell it, and it's just going to go to rot. And you see how these powerful economic forces really do conspire against the little guy. And our state started the state bank in 1919 on that kind of shielding against usury practices from big businesses. And so now, you know, circle back nearly 100 years, and the Sanford enterprise comes into Fargo, takes advantage of the Fargo flood of 2009, which put AmeriCare into a significant debt situation, and economic viability was basically not looking good. So they had to, in my opinion, as North Dakotans, make a deal with the devil, who is the king of usury, based in South Dakota, Denny Sanford. You know, and how Denny Sanford got his money is by basically raking people over the coals who couldn't get credit from any other better regulated state-based system of creditors, bankers, and credit card agencies. And so, so when you have, and this is just a basic, I guess, legal education for all of us in North Dakota. I'm not an attorney, but I am the son of an attorney and grandson of the city attorney of Omaha who wrote the city charter. And so I've been, you know, always reading legal things, and I've helped my dad on some malpractice cases, and I've done a lot of things in legal venues, even in communications. I had a little underground newspaper actually my senior year at Omaha Central, but in looking at the whole legal apparatus of our great nation of laws, if you look at the racketeering laws that were enacted in October of 1970 and what they are telling our attorneys and our courts is that when illegal billing, and when people are put into debt across state lines illegally, and it's done even just as little as 3 times, so that their business entity could be inured or benefited, that is the definition of racketeering. And it was to go after the mafias of New Jersey going into New York and telling a little, you know, Italian immigrant pizza shop owner, hey, look, you know, you got to be part of our crowd. We're gonna have Joey here come make sure nobody busts into your till, and you know, but we got to do that for a little fee. So you know, we're gonna pay you, or you're gonna pay us, you know, $50 a month, and nobody's gonna mess with you, right? That's the mafia mentality. And so this has been now really, and I got to credit Sanford's attorneys because they've kind of done it in a genius way. But they've really enveloped into establishment medicine in the Dakotas how to put people into debt illegally and then get their money back in a way that no other hospital system in the 6-state area that's, you know, 500-mile radius of Sioux Falls can do. And so the basic economic signal in the macros here that maybe Ernie Goss, if he was down at Creighton looking into the economic index more than just the rural farm stuff that we get from him, if he were to look into how Sanford as a non-for-profit organization has a close to 90% accounts receivables collection rate. So for every dollar they bill, they're getting 90 cents back. And there's just 10% that's left out there because they are extremely aggressive. And in being extremely aggressive, they're breaking federal and state laws.
So how can that be if, say you do get a service from them and you're in Bismarck, Mandan, whatever, just because the billing is billed through South Dakota, that...
Well, it kind of all goes back behind the scenes into Denny's collection racket. And so all these other healthcare systems like CHI, Essentia, Altru, Trinity, they're just healthcare systems, right? So the Sanford enterprise has its own collection agency, Rushmore Services, its own collections department. They own all the doctors and nurses, of course, as a multi-specialty practice group. And they have key players that they've put into political medicine in our state at the state capitol to the tune of there aren't many people at the state capitol who don't have some tie into the Sanford nexus. And the biggest ingression or tie into this whole Sanford racket was when our state and the ND PERS contract went from being taken care of by just a healthcare company called Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Dakota, which doesn't have its own collection agency, they send those things out into collection agencies at the appropriate legal point in time. They don't have their own doctors and nurses. They're not controlling us in medicine as an employer and billing in our names and going after our patients. But Sanford is. And so when Sanford got the ND PERS contract, that was, if you think about it from a macroeconomic standpoint in American medicine and American non-for-profit healthcare and in American government, that was the virtual takeover of the state of North Dakota economically.
Wow. You know, that is a lot of information to absorb. It really is. We're going to have to take a quick break right now, and we're going to pick your brain some more right after this. But we'll be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
So I didn't.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
At Beck Communications, we've been planning for your future. Over the past decade, we've placed nearly 200,000 miles of dedicated fiber optics in the ground. Enough fiber optic strands to circle the world 8 times. Taking no shortcuts, we connected every home and business in our service area with dedicated fiber optics. It's your personal, unrestricted, unthrottled connection to the world. Best of all, this dedicated fiber means you do not share your connection. We call this intimate dedicated connection Beck Fiber.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer's been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm coming to you with one of the most important commercials that I've ever done. All of you know what MyPillow and myself have gone through in the last 8 months in my efforts to bring the truth forward. Well, now you can help in a couple ways. First, get everyone you know to go to my new media platform, frankspeech.com. There you'll find all the footage from my cyber symposium and many other important broadcasts. Also, I am personally doing a new daily live show to get the truth out. It's at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday. Secondly, I'm offering some of the best prices ever on MyPillow products, but they're only available on frankspeech.com. Go to frankspeech.com now and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below to receive these exclusive MyPillow offers. Thank you and God bless.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are visiting with Dr. Ted Fogerty. And I tell you what, I don't think we'd even get through all of this in 2 days. If we held you captive for 2 days, we probably still wouldn't understand all of it.
Yeah, talk about conspiracies.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering a couple things, so I'm going to ask it all together. One is, what kind of backlash are you getting from speaking out? And what can people do about it? Because we're listening to this, and I know people that have been harassed and threatened for, if they didn't pay their bill right away. What can be done about it?
Okay. Your first question, how has this affected me and my family? I was the secretary of the board of Sanford Bismarck, and documenting internally in our meeting minutes, which, you guys are a cooperative. There's publicly, they're supposed to be publicly distributed meeting minutes. And I'm documenting with my colleagues, and there's a whole cohort of, well, and there's too many of them to fire actually. There's a whole cohort of people who are my former students and aficionados of What the Fogerty, MD. But I had this nexus of great docs here in town behind me, and we were basically calling out the attorneys from Sioux Falls and saying, hey, look, you can't be erasing Dr. Fogerty's meeting minutes, and across state lines, of course.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's all been well documented by my colleagues in medicine. And so I was wrongfully terminated in an act of patient safety advocacy, which was used as kind of a tripwire to say, well, we're going to terminate you effective immediately. And
Are you saying you were set up?
well, there's a whole thing I can go into about how healthcare systems they will actually bring in foreign medical graduates into their top specialty positions because they know they can politically control them. And so medicine is more political than politics.
Wow.
And so, but the big picture is, yeah, I've suffered a lot of economic harm, psychological harm, for speaking the truth in these matters. And we have a specific instance of our town of Bismarck at Sanford, and going back to Med Center 1 when I first came up here, never had an MRI scanner in a level 2 trauma center until right before the pandemic. And so we had people in this town, and this is again where the racketeering and the antitrust things kind of come into play, but we have 2 healthcare systems in this town, one of which put in MRI scanners into its hospital physical plant in 2004, St. Alexius, and did the right thing for patient safety. And then Mid Dakota even put in their own MRI scanner. I don't know when they did it, but even Little Old Rugby, Heart of America Medical Center, had their own MRI scanner put into their little tiny hospital in 2009. And Sanford, well, Med Center 1 was basically near bankruptcy for this whole time, and that was kind of the driving force to go to Sanford. And everyone on the junkets that I was a part of, when we went down to Sioux Falls, and everybody was like, yeah, we're going to put all this money into your guys' practices and into your hospital, and so you can do this all right. And it was like from day one, they promised an MRI scanner. They promised us new operating suites. They promised us new angiography suites. None of this ever came. And so when you look at it, when we have, you know, it's a very, it's a horrific case actually. But we had a teenager who managed to nearly kill herself under a suicide watch in the psych unit. And that was a big sentinel event. Sentinel events are what we kind of use as a term in medicine to say, hey, there's a compliance problem here, there's a safety problem here. And that, that little soul, first of all, had to be shipped out of the hospital for this MRI scanner on 8th Street, right across the street from the UND Southwest Campus building, which on top of that building is the old Sanford administrative offices. So our state actually built 2 stories of a building, and then Sanford, you know, somehow has ownership or a sweetheart lease on the top of that building, and that is another physical embodiment of some of this racketeering stuff that's been going on politically in our state. But this young teenager who in despair under suicide watch in a psych unit was like the Eden Carlson case, she had a very bad anoxic brain injury. And if there's anywhere she should have been shipped to out of the state of North Dakota for medical purposes, it should have been to LSU and to my partner in research, Dr. Paul Harch, who could have remedied and improved that young person's brain with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. That, however, was not done. The physicians that I know here in town who are pediatricians and intensivists were perfectly capable of taking care of this person. And even if it wasn't on the west side of 8th Street, it could have been on the east side of 8th Street at St. Alexius. So you have to ask the question, why was this child shipped to Sanford and Sioux Falls? And why was this family forced to go travel hundreds of miles from their hometown to see their teenage child languishing with anoxic brain injury in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, when they should have never had to leave here?
So let me guess. The answer is money. Money for Sanford. They weren't looking for the best care of the patient.
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
the licensure of the hospital was at risk for having this major safety violation in a psych unit.
Oh, sure.
And so then
And
that
so they
goes,
wanted to
and then
cover
that goes,
that up?
that goes up, in, yes, and that goes up right into ties into the state house, into the public health department, the regulatory bodies of our state that are supposed to be making sure these things don't happen. And you know, in medicine we have a safety culture that requires us to say, okay, we messed up here. This might be the first of a mess up that we need to stop now, but we need to come forth as physicians and healthcare teams and executives and say, this is a problem. We're sorry it happened. We need to troubleshoot what the area issue is. But getting back to it comes down to the money in the end. Now it really does, because the psych unit was understaffed.
And
they
so
didn't
she
have
was in the psych unit
the appropriate staffing to watch
but she was
every
on-
patient there. I think it's like every 10 minutes.
So she was
You
there
gotta
on
check
suicide watch.
somebody who's on a suicide hold, yes.
Right, and then she committed suicide in...
Well, she did not commit.
Or-
She attempted
Attempted
and
to commit.
survived.
Okay, got it.
But
But then she needed
survived
critical
with-
medical care, and they
she
didn't do
survived
what was
with
in her
a
best
very,
interest.
a very bad brain injury.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Ooh.
Wow.
Okay, and so what can we do? What should be happening in this state to address these problems? And we have only 1 minute.
I'm friends with Bobby Kennedy Jr., who I just wanted to put a plug in for his new book. He just came out and basically outlined the entire racketeering schemes of Tony Fauci, our top doc in America. And so if everyone would just take a moment and think about purchasing Bobby Kennedy's new book, since our prior author didn't show. But we need a federal intervention. The Department of Justice, there's no FBI real branch offices in the Dakotas. They're seated in the Twin Cities and or Omaha. But we really need a full-scale federal intervention to take down Denny Sanford's racket. And and prayers and kudos to the brave judiciate of the Supreme Court of South Dakota looking into opening and giving transparency to whatever has been going on with that man's private problems with children and their images.
Right, and we're going to talk about that next, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Hop in the rig and go down the road with me.
We'll cover local and national stories that impact you. What happens with national debt? Does anybody even care anymore? Do you think Governor Burgum truly understands the legislative process?
You know, I think he's got a better understanding now than he did 2 years ago.
Why in the world are we having a conversation about being anti-vaccination? Down the road with Joel Heitkamp weekdays at 5:30 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. Before the break, we were talking about Denny Sanford. It's something that we had actually talked about this past Monday, that he is under investigation for child pornography in several states. And we were also talking about Denny Sanford doesn't own Sanford Medical Hospitals, but he is the biggest contributor to them, and that's why it's named after him? Or
Yeah.
Do you know a little bit about that?
Yeah, but just to make it real simple and easy, he's donating all this money to create a front for his collection agencies to make more money on the back end.
So how did he make all his money? He's a billionaire.
He started out as a bottom feeder, and still is, in the credit industry, and would send out mailers, communications across state lines to have college students and other people with poor credit scores and no assets get into his credit card enterprise. And there was one credit card product that he had that the Minneapolis Fed basically finally said, you're going way too far. That had an APR of 80%.
8%?
80%.
80%.
80%.
Yes. And so.
And Vito's going to come see you.
And right. And so what happened was in 1979, when the Supreme Court allowed for credit card companies to have their seat of corporate headquarters in whatever state they were going to choose, then the state usury laws would be what the corporation needs to follow. And then Wild Bill Janklow, 4-term governor of South Dakota, got everyone in Pierre in 1980 to look at this and say, let's get rid of all usury laws. There's no usury law in the former Sunshine State of South Dakota as of 1980, and then that brought all this credit card and financial business, you know, into Sioux Falls and turned it into a little mini Manhattan of the Plains. And so, you know, there's good actors in banking like Wells Fargo who have their credit card and their student loan collection operations running out of Sioux Falls. But Denny comes in and is basically, he's the one that is way out of line for all these years. And so when the Minneapolis Fed actually shut down that practice of 80% APR, then they came out with that same credit card program was a $250 annual fee, and you only had a $250 limit. So functionally, when you're looking at this from a simple economist standpoint, it's like, where you're going to pay $250 a year so that you can charge up $250 on a credit card. That's actually, depending on how much you use the card, that's actually close to 100% APR. And so that's where his philosophy, his business ethics are just whatever I can get away with. And then, you know, and then the Vatican gave him an award for supporting regenerative medicine. And the same year that Dr. Hart's down at LSU is actually bringing, you know, semi-vegetative kids back to life with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. So I don't know what the Fogerty is more of an example of how it doesn't matter what the truth is, it's follow the money.
Yep.
And we have billionaires, including our own governor, who are influencing our entire political process. I mean, the debacle of District 8 is just another example of these billionaires they're above the law.
Right. Can I bring it a little closer to home? Because we know, maybe not all our viewers know, but many of the medical profession are being forced now to take the vaccine or lose their job. And they're being told they can get a medical or a religious exemption. They can apply for one. However, those are being very limited. So my question is, you said earlier that Sanford had a lot of people that they placed at the state level and whatnot. How much power does Sanford or other places, and I know the feds are the big push of this, but how much pressure can they put on our Department of Health or on our state politicians?
The ND PERS contract, it's the Sanford insurance program. So every college, everyone who works in any state-based venue is forced into having this insurance package.
Right.
And all of, you know, our legislature, everybody who's in a state employee, I mean, and when you look at it, and I've even had one of my friends in town who's in radiology, his wife was working for the state collection agency and put into collections by Sanford before her EOB, her benefits kind of kick-in letter came from Blue Cross Blue Shield out of Fargo. It was 2 weeks after that, her EOB is like, well, you know, you don't have to pay this. Well, we've got you covered, kind of the thing. But she's already getting chased after for some films that were done in our department. And she's one of the collection agents of North Dakota, the state of North Dakota. And so you just get to this point where you're just like, when's it going to end?
Right.
And
I think
now we have a whole nation that has virtually had a reverse takeover of almost every level of government by public health, and all these people don't practice medicine.
Right.
How many people in public health have never even really practiced medicine?
Exactly.
They're just administrators to public health concepts and budgets. And
when did Dr. Fauci ever practice medicine?
He didn't.
And he's not board certified, is he?
No.
It's not board certified, and so all these public health people are taking over and dictating.
This is all in Bobby Kennedy's book, so everybody.
Okay.
We don't have time to go into that
And
for Fauci.
try to get him
Bobby
on.
Kennedy's book has this all laid
And Bill
out.
Gates is not a doctor.
No.
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
And his
friend
his friend Doug Burgum
Right.
is playing the role of doctor for our entire state in this pandemic. And I put it out from the very start, even before, in all these medical circles, in all these places. These are the things that we need to be doing. And even if you go back to the oldest tenets of medicine in regards to public health and disease, and even, if you guys had measles in the 60s, you don't need a vaccine. You have natural immunity, which is far superior, right?
Right.
And then suddenly there are people who are working in healthcare or going to these universities who are in quarantine for a diagnosis of COVID-19 while they're in these institutional settings. And they have natural immunity when they come out of this process, and now they're being forced to have a product that has no liability in order to keep their jobs. And this is completely immoral and unethical.
Amen.
And our economic health is actually a big part of our real health and biological health and well-being. When you're a farmer and you get a collection notice from Denny Sanford's healthcare system, long before it's legally to be done under federal and state laws, are you risking depression, substance abuse? And all of our banking friends here in this town, this is one of the greatest states of banking, not just in America, but on the whole planet. They're all shaking their heads. I mean, I have friends that are bankers downtown in virtually every bank who are just like, this is unbelievable. That these guys, that Sanford, Denny Sanford, bottom feeder, gets to go chase after people for $50,000 medical bills that you and your doctor buddies are, involved in taking care of that person, and then these folks are no longer able to actually run their small businesses of farming and ranching because they're in medical debt. I mean, it's a medical indebtedness, institutional fraud.
Right, and you can't even see a doctor. You can't see a specialist. You have to see a doctor to be referred to that specialist.
Well, you usually have to see a nurse practitioner first.
Yeah.
Then you may see your old family doc from small town North Dakota, who used to actually, we're losing all of our small town docs, and Sanford's MO when they came in here, and I was telling everybody this, these guys want to create basically. They want to take over the whole state of North Dakota.
Yeah.
They want a footprint in Minot. They want a footprint in Grand Forks, which they have in East Grand Forks. Our top paid official, the dean of the School of Medicine, is also a Sanford cardiologist in East Grand Forks. So he's got a huge conflict of interest. And then of course we have the Fargo, gargoyle laden, sinking into the mud
you
building.
Come up with some more adjectives because we're going to have to take a quick break, all right? We're going to be right back after this on Ladies of Another View on Beck. We went about 2 minutes over on that.
Can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
I'm Rick Becker from No Apologies. Welcome to your after hours oasis of sanity. How can these people not see that they're just clowns?
We help simplify and educate you on things going on in the legislature and around the country.
Asking the hard-hitting questions.
But also having Lee Stack and Sid and Marty Croft stuff, and we've talked about that sometimes. It's bad.
Watch us weeknights at 9 Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We never know what's coming up here, but we have Dr. Ted Fogerty, and we don't have a whole lot of time for this last segment, so give us your final thoughts.
First of all, wardrobe malfunction. And just want to empower people through science and help people understand that there's been a holy grail kind of breakthrough here during this pandemic for T cell. Our immune system, our acquired immune system, has two big armies. The Air Force or services. The Air Force is kind of our B cells. They're sending out drones that we call antibodies. And the T cells are like the rest, they're the Marines, they're the Army, and the Navy. And they're all doing all this other stuff. And we have never been able to clinically, I mean, in scientific labs and stuff, we've been able to do this, but we've never had a clinical product where we can just go out and get our T cells assayed. And so this little company out in Washington basically translated over from what they're doing for T cell characterization of oncology vaccines and these kinds of things. And I'm not anti-vaccine in a lot of venues. I mean, it's like
we're all the same way.
I'm anti-fraud. But so if you've got not only documentation that you've had COVID from your employer in healthcare or academic institution, and then you also have now a T cell test that says, yeah, here's all these T cells that are already built in this person's bloodstream. They're circulating in the bloodstream, and T cells circulate much longer than the B cell antibodies do. And so you can reliably say, look, there's T cells against COVID-19 in this person, and then it's now we're crossing a real threshold in what is a completely immoral, unethical racketeering system of American citizens being forced to have a product made by some American or foreign company that they don't need because we've proven it scientifically, we've proven it clinically. You're immune to this. And by the way, that vaccine isn't for the Delta variant. And so you see all these layers and layers of fraud that are just built into all this stuff. And there are so many papers in science that have been retracted of good scientists and physicians around the world who are trying to tell the scientific community, which is based in our taxpayer-funded PubMed database that Tony Fauci holds all these keys to. There's research that has been totally squelched that's showing these are the answers. And some of that stuff goes all the way back to, was this a bioweapon engineered in Wuhan, China? And in an oblique and indirect way, you can't really calculate a mutation rate in any wild type virus that could put a gene together like this, that is the spike protein. So indirectly, by the theory of evolution and the understanding of RNA evolution, and it is rapid, you get to this point where it's like, there's no way that this virus that came from China didn't have some hand of mankind involved. And then when you then pull yourself back and then start to look at, like, AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson have 2 live virus vaccines where they took a cold virus and they inserted the spike protein into it. That's exactly that's a bioengineered bioweapon.
Amen.
Wow.
Wow. All right, I can tell you right now that we have simply run out of time, but we want to talk to you some more. So maybe next week or the week after, if you want to come on and kind of finish some of those thoughts for us, but we're going to have to take off. We do appreciate you coming on, though, today.
Anytime, Mary. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Right on. Okay, and we will see you next time on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm gonna pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive and it's nice and small.
The MyPillow topper for the first time has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the MyPillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
MyPillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but so much more. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.